Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Lattafa is one of the most popular cologne fragrance houses in the world, and today I'm taking their top 10 most popular fragrances for men and ranking them from best to worst. Which is not actually all that easy to do. I thought it would be, and then I started doing it. Ugh. All of these scents that I talked to you about here today are gonna be linked in the description below, along with some codes that you can use to save yourself some money across a bunch of different websites. And if you're looking for cologne fragrances, you can find those at Fragflex, The Perfume Box, Triple Traders, among others. And a quick caveat, the way that I determine the top 10 most popular fragrances is a little bit flawed, and I'll explain why really quickly. I went to Fragrantica.com, looked up Lattafa, and sorted by popularity. Any fragrances that were either for women or heavily skewed toward women, I removed. And then the top 10 remaining, that's what we got here. So where's the flaw there? Well, those rankings can change, sometimes day to day. Depending on how many people are going to Fragrantica writing reviews for particular fragrances, it could have one jump up in popularity over another one. So this is the top 10 as of when I'm shooting the video, the most popular ones. But a week from now, it could be a little different. And also, they don't have every single Lattafa fragrance ever made listed on the website, so keep that in mind. All right, let's get started from worst to best. This is not the order of popularity on Fragrantica. This is my personal ranking of the 10. And the one that I have to put in 10th place, and it pains me to do this, Amir Al Oud Intense Oud. They really want you to know that there's the oud going on here. I don't feel good about putting this in last place. I really don't. I don't think it's a bad fragrance. It's not that expensive. It's a clone of By the Fireplace from Maison Martin Margiela, and it's a pretty good one too. The quality is nice. It smells pleasant. It has a good atomizer, which a lot of these ones we're gonna talk about today don't have good atomizers. That's one thing Lattafa could do a little better, the atomizers. Not a big deal at the end of the day, but really need some better ones. Like this one. This one's good, but a lot of the ones we're gonna look at here today are pretty bad. So like I said, By the Fireplace, it's a good clone, it's a good alternative. It's just with some of the other fragrances that it's up against, yeah, just had to put it here. Number 9, Abba Abayed Rouge. And this one, I feel like, as far as bang for your buck goes, is a great alternative to the fragrance that it's a clone of, which, can you guess what this is a clone of? It's got rouge in the name. You got the little red aesthetic going on. Yeah, it's a clone of Baccarat Rouge 540. So that's not altogether very unique. There are a ton of Baccarat Rouge 540 clones out there. But it is pretty well done, all things considered, because this is a stupid cheap scent. This thing is like 15 bucks a lot of places. That's what I paid for it. Sometimes, you know, it'll creep up around 20 or so, but still, that's not very expensive. Now, mine did arrive a little worse for wear. One of the little faux crystals is out of my cap. It was like that when I received it, like missing a little piece there. And it does look pretty bare bones, all things considered. It's just a rectangular bottle with a lightweight cap that, like I said, is missing crystals and yeah. But it does do a really good job at replicating BR540 on the cheap. It's just, when I was comparing it with the other fragrances in the top 10, I was like, well, not the most impressive thing, right? Other than the price point, like really good bang for the buck, as I said. And if you're looking for BR540 on the cheap, that's an awesome one. 8th place up next, still on the lower end of things, on the worst side. Again, they're not actually bad, but 8th place, Caed Al Farson. I probably butchered that, but don't worry. There's more coming. I'll butcher those too. Now, this one is a pineapple bomb. It is a bunch of pineapple. And it's similar to Rave Now, which, yeah, it's also Lattafa, isn't it? Rave Now! So, yeah, it's just this one's underneath the Lattafa name. Rave Now is underneath the Rave name, so. But like I said, a lot of pineapple here. Really fresh, sweet, a little simple. You know, it's not anything with a ton of complexity. It's really focused on that opening in the mid. You can layer this with Aventus style fragrances if you want. Gonna give you a little more of that pineapple blast. Has a magnetic cap, but not a very good one. So I don't know. Usually I give fragrances extra marks for magnets in their caps, but this one is, yeah. Let's check that atomizer. The opening too is a little synthetic when you first spray it on. You know, it like has a screechiness for a moment there before it settles in. Then it smells really good. But again, when I was looking at the other things this was up against, I just couldn't put this above them. So 8th place for that. 7th place, Rogba. Now, I have to tell you guys, I'm a little biased here when it comes to the Ba or the Rog, or whatever you call it. This thing looks crazy cheap, okay? There's no denying that. This cap, it's like super cheap little plastic thing. The bottle, pretty basic. And really, Rogba comes from a time before Lattafa was Lattafa. So nowadays, Lattafa comes out with a new release and people get pretty hyped. People anticipate it in a big way. People pre-order them at this point. Lattafa is a whole different beast, okay? When Rogba was getting popular, Lattafa was not this. This is what Lattafa was. This bottle, that was what Lattafa was. Really cheap looking, very bare bones looking bottles that you could only find on eBay that you bought for like $20. But when you bought them, you were ordering them from across the ocean, so it took a while to get them. Or you could buy from like some dude in New York, probably selling it from like a street boutique, and then you would get it a little faster, but you'd have to pay twice as much. So why am I rambling about all this stuff? Well, because I bought Rogba back when Lattafa was that. It was like this new thing that here in the US and in Canada and, you know, parts of Europe, people were starting to figure out. Obviously, we were behind the curve a little bit, but people were starting to key in on what Lattafa was. And this was one of the very first ones that took off in a way where people were clamoring for it, talking about it, everybody wanted it. And I didn't even have a channel at that point. I was just like lurking around and I was like, oh, I gotta get my hands on this Rogba. And so it's just one of those things. It smells similar to 24 Gold from Scent Story, which is a whole other thing. Scent Story was like a hype beast for a second there in the early 2010s. And it was really hard to find, and this smells really similar to that. And it also has a similarity to Xerjov's Bouquet Ideal, so kind of like that. It's really rich, it's sweet, it has an oudiness to it, which to some people is a little off-putting, but I think this stuff is great, and for the price point, it's really, really nice. It's just, you know, it's not quite there compared to some of the new ones. All right, after that, Oud for Glory. And this is, of course, a clone of Oud for Greatness from Initio Parfum, and just look at it. This is one of those deals where you start to question, is that gonna be an issue? Are you gonna have to like change the name or the presentation or something? Is somebody gonna come after you? Because that's pretty egregious. And this is a really, really solid one. A great alternative to Oud for Greatness. And some of these down here, they have, again, great bang for your buck, but a little cheapness to them when you smell them. Like they'll have a little synthetic hit when you first spray it, go in for a smell. You're like, ooh, oh, okay, that's a little, And then, you know, a couple minutes in, you smell again and you go, oh, it's great now. Way nicer. This one marks, at least for these next fragrances I'm gonna show and the most popular from Lattafa, this one marks really where that kind of goes away. You don't really get that. You can basically take this, just spray it on right away. Again, atomizer, ugh. Better atomizers, Lattafa, come on. And you can go right in, smells great right away. And that one is very, very similar, very close to Oud for Greatness. So gotta put that one there. I know that looks like it's not great, you know, because there's 5 ahead of it. And you go, oh, put that there, what are you talking about? But the ones after this are just bangers. So after that, I'm gonna go with this, Fakar Black. I know some of you out there are gonna be like, Fakar Black over Oud for Glory, what are you doing? And I gotta say, it was close. It was real close between both of these. Traditionally, this one, Fakar Black, was a good deal cheaper than Oud for Glory. Nowadays, they're pretty similar, like, you know, low 20s. That's what you're gonna be paying for either one of these from discounters, just an insane price. This is a clone of Y Eau de Parfum. I think it's really well done, even though the presentation here looks nothing like Y Eau de Parfum. You know, this is like the polar opposite of this. With this one, they copied everything down to the name, basically. With this one, they copied the fragrance and then said, screw all that other stuff. Just make a different bottle, different name, who cares? Can you make it look like it has fish scales on the back? I think that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, very different mindset. But I just think that this one is so good at copying what Y Eau de Parfum does for a just stupid low price. For the price, this gives you year-round usability, massive compliment factor, and is just in the air for a lot of people, nearly indistinguishable from YEDP, which is one of the biggest men's fragrances in the world. All right, number 4, it is Oud once again, but this time it is not for glory. No, it is for honor and also glory. Yeah, Body All Oud, honor and glory. Yeah, you can obviously see the similarity there. And this one is kind of its own thing. You can pick out like little bits and pieces from a bunch of different fragrances out there, but this one, it's sort of one of those creative fragrances, I think they like to call them. So this is like when you have houses like Armaf, Lattafa, Fragrance World, houses that are known for making clones, comes out with something that's not really a clone, it's a creative fragrance. It has creme brulee, it has pineapple, it has vanilla in there, cinnamon as well. Nice and sweet, a little bit creamy, touch tropical, really easy to wear, big compliment puller, pretty unique actually, all things considered. And so I have to give this one props. You know, it's doing its own thing, doing it well. Top 3, and if you're really keen on Lattafa, you may take a look here and be like, I know which 3 are missing. I know which 3 are coming. Number 3, Assad. Assad is, of course, a Sauvage Elixir alternative, Sauvage Elixir clone. It is pretty affordable, especially when you compare it to Elixir. It has that spicy woodiness, extremely masculine, a little bit of a throwback feel to it, just like Sauvage Elixir. And it's one that has spawned like basically clones of this. Even though this is a clone of Sauvage Elixir, this has spawned clones of this from other clone houses. So you know when that's happening that you did something right. Just like Sauvage Elixir, big performance, the quality here, really, really, really nice. There's a reason that this is one of the most popular Lattafa fragrances, hands down. All right, we are in the top 2, and number 2, I'm gonna go Kamra. Kamra is one of those scents where first time I smelled it, I was like, wow. Just when you consider the price point of this thing, super cheap from discounters. The presentation, really, really good. It's a clone of Angel Share, of course, from by Kilian. Some people prefer the presentation of the Lattafa. And actually, I'd say the box is better because the box for Angel Share is kind of, it's nothing to write home about, we'll just say that. The sweetness that this thing has is just perfectly done. This is just an attention grabber. It's perfect for fall and winter time. Some people prefer this over Angel Share, not presentation-wise, smell-wise, especially when you consider the price, you know, the cost value that you have here. It is still to this day one of the best Angel Share alternatives on the market. When this came out, it was easily the best, easily. And there have been a lot that have come out since this one that are still way below this. And there's like 1 or 2 that are kind of on this level. So Kamra is still the stuff, you gotta have that. That's easily in the top 3. And the only reason it's not number 1 is because I put the other Kamra in number 1. Yeah, Kamra and Kamra. This is Kamra Kawa, and it's really similar to Kamra. There's not a massive difference between the 2. It's just this one has coffee added in. And I like coffee. I like it as a note. I like it as a drink. The coffee here is not huge though. I mean, it smells like Kamra with the sweetness and everything. Comes across very similarly in here. It's just you have a little roast coffee along the edges. That's really it. The reason I put this one into first is because, I don't know, it's a little more interesting to me when I smell it. I like that little difference, that change that it has. And while this is one of the best angel share alternatives out there, for sure, while it is, there are a couple other ones that are, like I said, pretty close to how this one is in terms of overall smell and everything, in terms of quality and cost value. But there aren't so many that do what this one does. That little bit of coffee for me takes it up into first place. Now, obviously this could change. You know, there are a lot of fragrances that in my top 10 most popular, or my just top 10 Lattafa, would be in here, and some of these would be out. I think, honestly, and nothing against these, but you could probably chop it right here, remove these 4, and I'd put 4 different ones in. And then I might actually switch some of these up a little bit. But as far as the most popular on Fragrantica right now, this is how I'm gonna sort those out. That said, even these ones down here, the worst, those are not bad. When you consider the price you can get these at, they're still good. But this stuff over here slaps. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.